Hello, beautiful souls. This is Sadhana. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at a side-by-side comparison of the Stunning Tarot by Jonasu Jaus on the left and the Star Spinner Tarot by Trungles on the right. When I opened up my copy of the Star Spinner, I was going over and over in my mind, what deck does this remind me of? There's something about these colors, these unusual, seemingly unusual combination of colors. And then I realized it was the Stunning. So I thought today we would just have a look at these two decks side by side, and no particular intention, but just to enjoy the artwork and to share any reflections that may arise. I thought I'd read to you a little bit from the guidebook of the Star Spinner, because this might be why I was drawn to do this side by side. The Star Spinner is meant to evoke iconography that is less deeply rooted in that esoteric visual language and challenge the imperialist trappings of that time. The images draw from children's stories, myths, and fairy tales that might already be familiar to the reader. You will find mermaids with hearts abundant as the ocean, fairies playing between dreaming and waking. You might find the fruit of knowledge hinting at a transition between naivety and knowing, and you will discover old goddesses and the moon and the sun in a new light. Foregoing the promise of cosmic insight, the Star Spinner Tarot trusts that you will know your own life best. It is a medium by which you can illuminate the threads that connect seemingly disparate pieces of your day-to-day experiences. Each reading is a gentle reminder to carefully examine those connections and figure out how to make the most of your own discoveries. It is created to be a gentle guide, like softly twinkling stars over a particularly long stretch of night. And so on many levels, this deck reminded me of the Stunning, because in the Stunning we're going to find lots of different cultures. And we will see, if not fairies, mermaids, and the color. There is something about the color of these two decks. All right, so we have the Fool. The Stunning first edition is sold out, so you can just, if you like the deck, pay attention or bookmark Jonasu Jaus's website, which is in the description box below. Send her a message. She was very good with me when I was looking for the Jonasu Jaus Tarot, sending me messages when things were coming available. Interesting Magician card on the left, because it feels to me like almost indifference with the potential, with the possibility. And we have another deck with those kind of haunting eyes, right? We don't need the three-dimensional eyes in the High Priestess. And then it also appears here too that Empress has an internal gaze. Love the Empress card in the Star Spinner. The Emperor. Almost as if look at these two guys talking to each other here. Hello, who's the real Emperor in this side-by-side comparison? The Hierophant. And I wonder why she chose not to have incense, coming out here. In the Stunning, we have several Lovers cards, so I will just go through those now so you can have a look at them. And I moved the order of the cards because in the Stunning Tarot, this is the 11th card, but I wanted to show them side by side. So, and interesting that the creator of the Star Spinner Tarot chose the keyword fortitude for the 8th card and for this card, and yet placed it in 8th position. And I love the Hermit card in the Stunning. The footprints, the perspective. The cosmos here is, there's so much going on in this card. But I think on a subtle level, we're really getting a similar vibe with these two decks. With the embryo at the root of the Wheel of Fortune. And then Justice. So while the color palette is very similar, it is, of course, there's fewer colors in the Stunning. Really like what Jonasu did with the Death card, with the depth of the emergence of the snake from its skin. And the poppies hanging here. It's really poignant, that card. The angel baby. This might be a card that you want to use if there was a reading and some healing and grief work that had to be done with the loss of a child or a stillborn child. Temperance. Yeah, the use of red and purple is quite something in these two decks. And to my gaze, there's no humans in either Tower card. Beautiful star cards. One of the keywords for me of the star card is purification. There's this real sense of cleansing, and I feel that in both of these decks. The moon. This reminds me a little bit of the slow tarot, but I think in the slow tarot it's a judgment card that has that reflection in the glass. The sun. And really something to pause and reflect on why everything is moving downward in the sun card. It almost feels a bit like a temperance card to me. And then the world. What we don't get in either of these decks is that the body facing in one direction and then the head looking to the future. Maybe a little bit in the Star Spinner. And I have put the cards in the order of, I have no idea, I can't remember how either deck was packaged, so we're going to start with the Wands, and then we'll do Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. I love this. I feel, you get that sense of pounding the sword into the ground and that power. And we have yellow wands and purple wands. And fairies on the left. And there's a strong, strong goddess, pagan kind of energy in the cards on the left. Witchy energy. Triple goddess. So you have different layers with the two decks, because if you're going to work with the myth of the fairy tales, fairy stories, you can bring that in, and then you have this kind of witchy layer going on in the stunning. Reminds me a little bit of the Pagan Tarot. And I might just pull out the suit of wands in the Pagan Tarot and look at these two in a moment. This one is kind of like, there's not much going on here for a Six of Wands. Yeah, this suit is so much like, it has that vibe of the Pagan Tarot. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about. I'll go grab it in a second and I'll show you before we do the other two suits. Eight of Wands. Nine. Feels very much like an air card to me, this one. I've been working with the Chamonette recently, and this looks a lot like that. Eight of Swords in the Chamonette. Ten. And interesting that we have a crone as the Page of Wands. And then Warrior of Wands and Knight of Wands. And I may have changed the order. I'm pretty sure in this deck it was packaged with the King first and the Queen second. Beautiful. Imagine this coming up with a Strength card, how that would feel in a reading. That would be awesome. And then the King of Wands. This is the deck that I was talking about, the Pagan Tarot by Gina Pace. And it's got that very pagan, witchy vibe. So completely different kind of artwork, but anyway, that's what I was reminded of. Zoom in a little closer here for the rest of the cards. And really interesting that in Stunning, the cups are not the mermaids. Those come up later in the deck. So we have Ace of Cups. I find this Three of Cups really mysterious, and it's definitely going to tap into that more of that Four of Cups energy. Quite like the card on the left. And I do like that both of these decks bring in so many different cultures. I know some people find that it's not fluid, it's not coherent, cohesive. There's something about that Seven of Cups. So the female is on top of the male peacock. And then we have those interesting white kind of barbs coming in here. So Jonasu, I don't know if that's your real name, has just really brought up lots of food for thought in these cards. And look at the face, the expression on that Eight of Cups. To me, it feels like, okay, I've got this. I've got this. And if I stay, I can take on a completely different perspective. Nine of Cups. So some of the cards have a very pip style, pip feel to them, and others are way more illustrated. And I suppose comfort in working with that just comes with comfort in, you know, reading with the deck more. Page. And then we have the Prince, who's not in the water. Love the magic carpet vibe there. This Queen of Cups is really given me lots of interesting feeling, and the fact that she's holding that sword, much like a Queen of Swords, sometimes is confusing when this card comes up in a reading. But there's something about the fan of the garment that she's wearing that looks very like a shell, right? It looks very Cups-ish. And then the King. These are both great, powerful, passionate, very passionate Kings of Cups. The Patriarch. Yeah, don't they feel like patriarchal energy? Okay, and then Swords. So now we're in the suit of Myrrh. For Swords, the suit of Air is the Merfolk, which doesn't quite feel right to me. And I need to reconcile that, and eventually maybe I will figure that out, but something I'm still working with. So the stunning definitely hasn't made it into my card decks that I use all the time. Don't use it with clients. I'm still using it in with personal readings and trying to pair it with other decks to try to figure out its energy. Beautiful Four of Swords. And that floating on the water, I feel that. So that floating energy definitely works in that card. So let me know what you think of the suit of Swords, the suit of Air being the mermaid suit, the merfolk suit, merpeople suit. Love that. Moon Mandala. 7. There's a real sense of clinging in the Seven of Swords on the left. In a different energy than the escaping, right? The taking and leaving, the running away. 8. What am I going to do? Oh, the mind. And the 10. Page of Swords. Looks a bit like Peter Pan. And here we have, there's no head, which I think works really well with the Page of Swords. Warrior of Swords, that's awesome. They're both fierce. Fierce feminine energy. Queen. Almost looks a bit like Kali energy on the right, and not kind of, sort of, not really. And then the King. All right, and the final suit of Pentacles. And for Pentacles, we have the yellow, so the gold, we have the Egyptian theme. And then in the Star Spinner, lots of greens and blues. But we do have the gold of on the coins. So I like how the final suit here kind of looks together. And in working with these two decks, I think it's kind of fun also to go to the mythology or to go to the fairy story and to look up that information. I have many decks that I spend way too much time doing that, but I enjoy that because it's part of the storytelling of doing tarot readings. And I love to tell stories and through story help people with their healing, help people with their journey. Look at the broken mirror in the Five of Coins. There's something about the Eight of Pentacles and the Stunning that really appeals to me. I like it when parts of cards point to certain things, not just faces, not just people. Nine of Pentacles. We also have the Scarab Beetle there. And then the final court cards. We have Page. That Warrior of Pentacles on the left looks pretty dynamic. Strength and solid power. Very different than the romantic Prince I see on the right. And so that's why I use different decks, different readings, different days, right? Different energy. The Queen of Pentacles on the right looks like a little girl to me. So doesn't quite feel, something doesn't quite feel right with that one. And then the final card is the King. And we do see the fierceness of the face, so the strength in the face of the bunny on the right. But interesting choice of animal for the Knight of Pentacles. And we do have rabbits throughout the whole suit, so that definitely is the, what do you call it, the sigil of the suit. So as I work with the star spinner more, I'm definitely going to have a look at the animals and how the animals play into the energy of the suit and the cards and so forth. But I just wanted to give you this flavor of these two decks. I find it really interesting how these two creators chose this color palette, and perhaps you learned something today by looking at them side by side. So thank you very much for joining me. Stay well. Namaste. Just popping on for one final comment here. I was curious about whether there actually was a sigil for each of the suits, but it doesn't appear that's necessarily the case. So all of these cards here have birds, and we have coins, majors, wands, swords, and then with the chalices and the coins, so there's one dog in each of these cards, and then that rabbit that I was just mentioning at the end. So the Queen and King of Pentacles each have a rabbit, and then there's a rabbit in the Moon card. And yeah, so that's often associated with lunar energy, but this is the suit of Pentacles. And then we have there's one snake card, and that's in the Queen of Swords. So yeah, I will definitely bring in the animal energy to the reading of the cards, but it doesn't appear they're particularly associated with a suit. So thanks again for watching. Namaste.